All right, picking up in chapter 5, it's going to read to the end. Fast Eddie is at Harold Sergeson's, and they are discussing possibly buying some books for Eddie to have placed in stores where he could do readings and sell them. Um, man, Harold has denied him. Uh, Man, no mercy, no place. I am not anywhere near finding home. Man, I need God to show me some mercy. That is it, Mercy Street. I need to find directions to Mercy Street. Then I can find home again. I know the best place to start looking. Howard said, "Oh, yeah? Where would that be?" Eddie replied, "The church, of course, would be the most logical place to get directions to Mercy Street. I will start calling them all tomorrow and see if they will let me do readings in their church." Eddie stood up, saying, "Well, I guess I will be on my way. I do not know where to go, or, oh, do you have a blanket?" Harold, grabbing a Green Bay Packers blanket on his bed, said, "Sure, man, here." As he tossed it, Eddie said, "Thank you. Every time you let me borrow the Packer blanket, I feel honored and privileged to know I have your trust in me. As usual, I will return it." Eddie went back out on the street. It was late. He had an exceptionally long day. It is best when surviving on the street without shelter to keep moving. He walked a few miles towards, downtown, then past the park. He called the fish of a different color park. It was nighttime, and the lights, with all the colors of the spectrum, were illuminating the glorious fish. A magnificent, unique work of art. A spectacular statue, portrayed in this brilliant display of nature, enhanced at nighttime, displaying the creativity of people with a brilliant light show. He hears a familiar voice, the soft voice of a female. It is Carrie, calling him. "Fast Eddie." Eddie waves and walks towards her. She is near the bathroom. As usual, she is completely covered with clothing. Eddie knows her voice. He reaches her and they hug. Eddie says, "Hi, Carrie. Nice to see you. Are you okay? How was your day?" She says, "Hi, Fast Eddie. Today was not bad. I'm okay. Thanks again for this morning." Eddie said, "Anytime. In fact, in a matter of moments, my card will have a deposit. Are you hungry?" Carrie said, "No. But do you have any toothpaste?" Eddie said, "I do, and soap, too. Do you need to use some?" She said, "Definitely, but where?" Eddie said, "Great question. As you know, I have had security situations in this very spot and in the middle of the day." Carrie said, "I would feel safer if you could hang out with me. We can go in here." She led them to the bathrooms. Carrie went in first, and Eddie followed. He closed the door, and as he took out the soap, Carrie began to undress. Impossible for him to not notice her perfect body as he handed her the soap. They looked into each other's eyes. Slowly, each one of their smiles widened. As he placed the soap in her hand, Carrie said, "I love you, Fast Eddie." Eddie could sense she wanted to be saying, "I love you, Daddy," to her father, and he could almost hear, "I love you, Daddy," from his daughter. As she turns, Eddie watches her, starting from her light brown hair, as she has been coloring much darker every time he sees her. It touches the blades of her shoulders. Her light, obviously soft young skin. She curves perfectly down to the small of her back. Eddie stops looking. He also turns, and he looks at the door, where any security alerts might present themselves. His admiration is strictly paternal. They were both assured of this. After many sincere, heartfelt conversations, their relationship was solidified. In the environment where they both survive, there is no security. Carrie is expressing an extremely enormous amount of trust in Eddie. For Carrie to be in this place with him was honorable for Eddie. It also put himself at risk. If he had to defend her, he would. He is tired. He relaxed by leaning against the wall. He walked many miles in a day. Eddie began to ask Carrie a question. "Carrie," but he stopped. His hesitation prompted Carrie to say, "Fast Eddie, I love you. It's okay, whatever it is, because I know you. Usually we have deep, cool talks, stuff I like to talk about. You listen. I know that you are sincerely never judging me or anyone. Sometimes you get political, and I'm like, enough." That is when you ask me about me, and I love that. I never think that you do not understand. Politics is your thing, very cool thing, just not my thing. We undeniably both have the same understanding of what everyone's individual rights ought to be able to be themselves and have the things they want. Eddie said, "Yep, as long as nobody's getting hurt." "You are talking about liberty." "Right on." She said, "See, you understand exactly." Carrie chuckled. Eddie said, "But liberty is political." Carrie said, "You're right. And I put all my trust in you to restore liberty for all." Now, that is way too much time on the subject for me, Eddie said, "and a boatload of work for me." They both laughed, and she continued, "You are going to get out of this situation and off the streets. I know you are. Everyone out here knows that, except you." Eddie said, "Thank you." She said, "For what?" He said, "For showing me an enormous amount of trust, especially considering the environment we are surviving in." Carrie was not understanding and said, "What are you talking about?" Eddie said, It makes me feel really good that a beautiful young woman like yourself is comfortable with this. That you say you will feel safer and request my presence is nice. I mean, I walk into a store and they act like Jesse James just walked in. You trust me because of who I am. You really know me. You know I'm not creepy. Carrie interrupted, saying, I heard a little freaky. They both laugh, and Carrie continues, no, you are not even close to creepy. I love you, Fast Eddie. I want you to know that I love you too, like a daughter. I know that you know this, or we would not be sitting here like this, you naked and all. They both start laughing again. Eddie has turned to where they can make eye contact in the mirror and says, we have developed a dynamic that is so completely father daughter, and it is natural and a healthy thing that we did. You're a beautiful person. I love you. I hope I fill that void for you. As weird and unique as it might be, it is real for us. I hope you are never afraid to come to me if you have any issue and need advice. I will always be there for you. They kept talking for a while, and Carrie finished washing up. Someone had knocked on the door. Eddie said, yeah, be out in a minute. Then he said to Carrie, are you ready? Carrie said, let's go. Eddie said, okay, I'll see you soon. They hugged, and Eddie opened the door. Waiting on the other side of the door was Richard, just standing there, not gesturing or motioning. He looked at Eddie, who nodded, and Richard nodded back. It was Carrie he was looking for. Richard's eyes shifted to Carrie, and he asked if he could talk to her. Eddie said to Carrie, I will see you around. I love you. Carrie said, I love you too. Fast Eddie. They walked off in different directions. As Eddie walked still another mile to his spot, he wondered what Carrie was doing when he didn't see her. He would only upset himself with speculation. Any thoughts that would enter his extremely active mind would only terrorize him further regarding his biological daughter. Being around Carrie obviously and understandably triggered thoughts of his daughter, and he could not help but worry endlessly about her. It was interrupted by a PTSD episode as Eddie's mind drifted from Carrie to Richard. For nearly 2 miles as he was walking, he is looking back for Richard until finally arriving at a spot where he can sleep as secure as he can be, considering his situation. He retreats like so many times to the dumpster, the safest and securest place he can go. This place is known as on the street as a spot. For Eddie, his spot was next to a dumpster behind the mattress store where he worked part time. Once secure behind the fake wall he built, he starts to read Anne Sexton poetry. The episode fading away as he feels more secure, he sinks into 45 Mercy Street. He passes out with his